It is finally Friday, and the excitement for the Super Bowl nobody's going to watch is building. What else can I tell you? Just go grab a brew and let's go. From horny Hollywood, it's the world-famous Mojo Elliott, ready to tickle your taint with another action-packed adventure of the Rat's Ass podcast. And today we're going to kick things off, like how I tied that in with football. We're going to kick things off by presenting the award for Dumbass of the Week. She is an ex-bartender from New York City. She got lucky and won an election. Now, she thinks her shit doesn't stink. Congratulations to U.S. Representative from New York. Some call her AOC. We'll use her real name, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She actually used this to describe Elon Musk. She said, he is one of the most unintelligent billionaires she's ever seen. She actually used the word unintelligent. You know, most people, when they achieve great success, they focus on one thing. Bill Gates at Microsoft, Steve Jobs at Apple, Jeff Bezos at Amazon, even though he's dipped his toe in outer space too. But Elon Musk invented PayPal. That wasn't good enough for him. He decided that, I'm going to parlay that into Tesla. Brought electric vehicles to market. And Tesla is a damn fine automobile, if I do say so my damn self. In fact, AOC even bought one at one time. I don't know if she still has it or not. Maybe her hypocrisy only goes so far and she got rid of it. But that wasn't good enough for Elon Musk. So he started building rocket ships and started SpaceX, which has rockets that can launch and land from the same pad. NASA could never figure this out for decades. They just let the rocket drop in the ocean. They sent an Uber guy out to pick up the astronaut. Not Elon Musk. He and his engineers figured out a way to use the launching pad for the landing pad so they could use the same rocket multiple times. Such an unintelligent human being here. And then he thought enough of the United States and free speech that he bought X, formerly Twitter. But that's it. That's why she is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Rat's Ass podcast, Dumbass of the Week. And Democrats really do have a resentment against achievement. It's really amazing to me. There's a book that I read years ago by Robert Schaefer called The Resentment Against Achievement. And it talks about the assault on people who have ability. And when you look at Democrats today, what are they doing? They're screaming, stomping their feet, and protesting. Now, what Donald Trump is doing is fascinating to me because he's got so many fires cooking at the same time. They've had to split up. You got Elizabeth Warren over here, Chuck Schumer over there, cockeyed Cory Booker, he's down here, and over across the other way is Maxine Waters. They're all trying to protest and put out fires. They have no frickin' ideas. That's why they scream and stomp their feet. Okay? I mean, you look at education for an example. And that's what's being attacked right now. That's one of the fires that's blazing today as we do this podcast. Okay, we spend more per child on education than any other country in the world, yet we're at the bottom. But the Democrats want to continue this. That's why they're protesting. They want to continue the same thing over and over again. They want to give you the definition of insanity over and over again. And that's all changing, and they can't stand it. That's why they're stomping their feet like spoiled children. But in all of this, guess who's missing? I hate to bring up her name. Where's Nancy Pelosi? Where's she at? She's disappeared off the face of the earth. Do we need to put her face on a milk carton? But where is Nancy Pelosi? But I digress. You know who else who wasn't elected? They're screaming that Elon Musk wasn't elected. He was appointed by President Trump. And they knew this was coming. But I'm sure they sat back in meetings and got all their little stomping points lined up. But you know who else wasn't elected? Dr. Fauci. He was never elected. And we talk about, the Republicans are serving their billionaire friends. What about George Soros and his mini-me son, Bill Gates? Great billionaires, donators to the Democratic Party. They won't talk about them. That's okay. Okay? Doesn't fit their doesn't fit their talking point. All right? And you know who else wasn't elected? Kamala Harris. She was not elected to be the Democratic nominee either for president. So just shut the hell up and spare us your hypocrisy, Democrats. I mean, Trump does have them fidgeting around like a one-legged cat trying to bury shit on a frozen pond, though, don't it? It's so funny. All right, let's get into the Super Bowl. It's here. The weekend is here. It takes 2 weeks. Why can't they just play it after 1 week? But it's finally here, and my Super Bowl pick is hot off the press. I did all the work for you. I study the offenses, the defenses, the special teams. I looked for their tendencies for penalties and turnovers. I looked at how they played on the road, how they played each other head-to-head, how they played in New Orleans even. And all the data speaks to one thing. When you crunch the data, there's one thing that comes up, and as a Raiders fan, from Oakland to L.A. to Oakland and to Las Vegas, it pains me to say this, but the data crunches down to say, in a close game, it favors the Kansas City Chiefs. Philadelphia needs to be up by at least 15 heading into the fourth quarter to avoid a Patrick Mahomes comeback, because he's the best at it, according to the data. That's the only way Philly wins this game. A close game favors Philadelphia or Kansas City. So my pick to win the Super Bowl is the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to three-peat, and they'll do it by 4 points. That's my prediction, and I'm sticking to it. All right, it's time to play Head Trauma. This round is called Sprain Your Brain. To dig a hole to China, where would you have to start digging? Is it Hawaii, Argentina, or the equator? Hawaii, Argentina, or the equator? I'll have the answer for you coming up on the podcast. I'll also post it on the Rat's Ass Podcast Facebook page. You can connect with that at ratsasspodcast.com. Are you ready for some loose behavior? As if it hasn't been loose enough already. All right, here's what's happening on the Rat's Ass Podcast X feed. We all know a Joe Schmo, but this Joe Schmo posted this question. What are some things you should never say on a first date? And as I was going through this scroll, a lot of funny answers, a lot of gross answers. I hope people aren't really that damn gross. But Megan Crow said, you don't have a problem with anal leakage, do you? Probably want to wait till the second date for that one. David Klein said, have you always had BO, or did this just start recently? You know, typically, to be polite, you put up with a BO. It's a quick date. Take her home and be done with it, because it only gets worse. Trust me. Milo David said, I want to go meet your mom so I can see what you'll look like in 30 years. Not a first date conversation, but I can tell you, it's a good idea, gentlemen. You got a smoking hot lady, you got to meet the mom, because that's what you're looking at 30 years if you're thinking seriously at her. I did actually ask on every first date one question to gauge her sense of humor and sense of adventure. And I would say, hey, it's dark. You want to go for a walk in the graveyard? Oh, the responses I got were perfect. They were really good. It really defined if it was somebody I wanted to continue seeing or not. Okay, if she went for the walk, she was for me. If she ran from the graveyard walk, one date only. All right, let's get into today's Celebrity Cheese, because it's really cheesy today. All hell is busting loose in Taylortown, because the word is Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds are not on Swift's guest list for her suite at the Super Bowl that Travis Kelce's paying for, by the way. It appears Taylor is pissed off at Blake because she felt like she used her to gain publicity for her movie. But this is what the entertainment business does. Everybody uses everybody for their own benefit. But in short, Taylor Swift thinks Blake Lively is an attention whore. All right, Kamala Harris and Doug. It's kind of like the Liberty Mutual commercial, the emu and Doug. That's how I look at Kamala and her husband, Doug, who graduated from a local high school here by me, by the way. Kamala Harris and Doug showed up at the Lakers game against Golden State last night, and they were ignored by fans sitting near them for the entire game. It was like they were never there. It was like November 5th all over again when America ignored them, too. All right, this one's a little creepy, even for me. Christina Hack from HGTV's Flip Off is said to have borrowed a red dress from her ex-husband's new wife, Heather, to go on a date with her new boyfriend. She's found love again in Chris LaRocha. I guess the pictures I talked about that they were taking for the camera was real love. It wasn't just to promote the TV show. But I'm assuming Christina probably passed on the matching red panties. I'm telling you, there is a threesome in the future that's going to happen, and it won't involve Chris LaRocha. Now tell me, ladies, would you ever borrow a dress from your ex's new wife? Would you ever do... That's creepy to me. Really creepy. All right, the NFL had their honors dinner last night, and the highlight was Snoop Dogg giving Bill Belichick shit about his 25-year-old girlfriend. Bill is 72, she's 25, but I'll let Snoop tell you about his thoughts. Snoopy, where are you, buddy? Snoopy. Hey, Snoopy.
Because I've been a football fan for a long, long time. I mean, I remember back when the Cowboys was good. I remember back when the Chiefs was bad. And And I remember, what was it? Bill Belichick's girlfriend wasn't even born yet.
I got to tell you, man, there is nothing like one old man being jealous of another old man's younger girlfriend. Yeah, there is some truth and humor. But who gives a rat's ass? All right, here comes the Rat's Ass Podcast email from our Gmail. It's where you email your questions, comments, thoughts, and observations to me at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com, and I respond. No topic is off the table. It's impossible to offend me, so bring them all on. I just want them to be the most outrageous and salacious emails you can send. All right? I do not read your email in advance. My producer, Fleabag, forwards me your name, where you're from, and rewrites them so I can respond rapid fire and on the fly. All right, Jamie D. from Dayton, Ohio said, name one thing that turns you off about the opposite sex. Oh, God, we could be here all day, Jamie, but you just want one. All right. You know what really turns me off? The pink and purple and green hair thing with the tattoos and the bone in the nose. Not my thing. Carla N. from Foley, Alabama said, I'm 23 and have a fairly high body count I'm not proud of, and now I'm dating a guy I really like. And if the body count question comes up, what is an acceptable number? You know, I get this question quite often, and that's why I post the Q&As on the Rat's Ass Podcast blog for the month. So you can go down and read those, and hopefully we don't get the same questions over and over again. But I'll answer it for you because I answer all questions. Make it a low number because he's not going to believe you whatever you say. Okay, you can say, I can count all the lovers I've had on one hand. We know you can count from 0 to infinity on one hand. But the illusion is it's 5 or less. You can't use that anymore because we've debunked that theory. Okay, but whatever number you give, know in his mind, he's going to at least double or triple it. But he's not going to remember any number that you give him. Okay, so how low can you go? How low can you go? Matt K. from Springfield, Illinois said, when I hook up with a girl, I tend to want to leave her after the climax, but they want to cuddle. What's a polite way to get them to leave so they will want to come back? Well, first, Matt, I don't think you want them to come back. You're a hit it and quit it kind of guy, so just stop that. Don't invite them to your house for crying out loud, okay? But if you're going to invite them to your house, be cool and just cuddle. There's no skin off your ass, Beulah, trust me. And they're not going to come back anyway because they're probably using you the same way you're using them. There are hit it and quit it chicks just the same as there are hit it and quit it guys. Angelique L. from Paris, France says, I've been dating an American man from California, and he wants to have sex two to three times a day. It's exhausting. Is this normal behavior for American men? I think it's normal behavior for men who like the women they're with, to be quite honest with you, Angelique. Maybe this is the first time you've been with somebody like that. But the good news is, he likes you. So he's not a hit it and quit it guy like Matt. Jenny G. from Odessa, Texas said, is there a job you've had that you would never tell anybody about? You know, that's a different question. No, not really. I mean, I didn't do anything I was ever ashamed of. There is one radio station I worked at in Phoenix that I've left off my bio. I was kind of a hustler when I was a young kid. I always had 2 to 3 jobs, always, up until I got into, my mid-30s. I just wanted to work and put a lot of money away so that I could retire young. And Phoenix at the time paid okay, but it wasn't great, and I wanted to make some extra cash and stash it away. And there was a beautiful music station called Kriz. It was an AM station nobody listened to. And I knew a guy who got me a job doing some weekend work there, so I took it. Now, if my main station that I worked full-time for found out, they would have fired me, but I figured, who in the hell listens to beautiful music? And the station was called Kriz, and it has legendary status, because back in the 70s, I guess Kriz and Crux, the other radio station, had great battles at that time. Kriz and Crux. So it would have been actually kind of good call letters to put on my bio, but I've always left them off. So to answer your question, that's as close as I can come. Waylon T., Alhambra, California, says, what's your take on the moves Rob Pelinka made to get Luka and Mark Williams? Oh, dude, he hit it out of the park. Come on. I never want to hear the Lakers complain about Rob Pelinka again. Okay? I mean, he went out and got Luka Doncic, 25-year-old superstar. And I'm not buying all the crap that they're selling as he's leaving Dallas. But what he did, he took an aging Lakers team with 2 aging superstars, LeBron at 40, a 32-year-old Anthony Davis, 32 in March, I believe, who is probably 35 in how he's played in his NBA career. And I think he bought into the theory. I've always said this. You do not want an Anthony Davis on your team if you don't have LeBron James to motivate him. So basically what he did, he went out and made the Lakers younger and more athletic overnight. They're going to be contenders this year. I know Chuck Barkley said last night the Lakers are not contenders. They're contenders right now without Luka. You know, they were winning games without Anthony Davis because he pulled a abdominal muscle. So they were like 3-0 without Anthony Davis, 4-1 without him this season. So they didn't need Anthony Davis. Maybe over the long haul, yes, and in the playoffs, yes. But Luka is 25 right now. He'll be 26 later this month. Williams is 23, who he just got from Charlotte. Hachimura is 26. Reeves is 26. That's a core four the Lakers are going to have for 5 to 7 years playing together. And I'm sure the Lakers will sign Luka. Nobody wants to pay the money. I guarantee you, all the stuff, they're looking for this really, salacious reason why Dallas got off Luka Doncic. I think it's purely money. He was eligible for $345 million. That's $1.69 million per game. Can you imagine? For less than 2 hours work. I think Dallas looked at that and said, look at the Dallas market. I mean, there's a lot of rich oil people here, but man, we can't charge the prices to pay one guy $345 million. And that's where I think it is. It's really as simple as that. But I'm happy to have him in Los Angeles. They've got a solid core four. And I think they got a bright future now. And I'm excited to be a Lakers fan. So much so, I'm going to start a podcast talking about Lakers basketball because I love my Lakers. All right, keep sending your emails with your thoughts, observations, comments, and questions to ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. And I'll give you my 2 cents that makes absolutely no sense on the next episode. I bet you want the head trauma answer. I'm going to give it to you, and I'm going to give it to you good. All right. This round is called Sprain Your Brain, and the question is, to dig a hole to China, where would you have to start digging? Hawaii, Argentina, or the equator? Process of elimination, it's not Hawaii. You might think it's the equator because it makes the most sense, but it's not. It's actually Argentina. If you wanted to dig a hole to China, that's where you would start. Anybody want to go? All right, how'd you do? If you missed it, go see a doctor about your head trauma. All right, I got to go wash my jock and get ready for the Super Bowl. But I do have one more thing for you. Would you believe 68% of people experience phantom vibration syndrome, where you mistakenly think your phone is buzzing in your pocket and you don't even have your phone with you? I kind of have the same problem with my wallet, where I mistakenly think I have dollar bills in it. But anyway, have a good Super Bowl weekend with that. I've got shout-outs to do for the new Rat Nation members. In the USA, Kyle Stevens in Maine, Lydia Rose in Wisconsin, Robbie Smythe in Oregon. And around the world, Garth Addison in Australia, Athena Sakari in Greece, Athena Sakari, and Ella Bauer in Germany. New Rat's Ass Rat Nation members. And we're going to have all that posted on the ratsasspodcast.com soon. But we got people emailing us saying, how do I get into the to Rat Nation? So we just said, hey, we'll just take your emails right now. So if you want to send the emails to get an early entry, that's fine. ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you check out the new ratsasspodcast.com to connect with us on the socials, listen to podcasts, and check out the blog wherever you can catch you can catch it on the website, catch it on the app, tons of places to listen. But you can read the blog and catch my article on how insomnia turns me into a hallucinating nut job like I am right now. We'll do this again on Monday, February 10th. Take care of each other and enjoy the Super Bowl. Thanks for listening to the Rat's Ass Podcast.